So welcome back to our Backcountry Guides. This is the third episode. My name's Willet, I'm with Dream Guides. This week we're going to look at how we make progress uphill with our skis and skins. So the first thing to realise about skinning is that it's not a normal walking motion. We're not lifting our knees very high because of the weight of the ski and the boots. It's much more of a gliding motion. Likewise, we're not pressing our skis into the snow because that creates too much friction, so it's a happy medium between the two. Secondly, we want to make sure it's a nice even pace where we can talk and not be too out of breath. It should be a case of making steady progress uphill but keeping a good body temperature so we don't get too hot and too cold, and keeping our energy levels and leg strength good for our descent, which is for the most of us why we're going uphill in the first place. Okay, let's have a quick look at the binding to see how it works in context of skinning. Just to orientate ourselves, this is the toe piece and on a Dynafit binding, pin binding, and I'll just demonstrate. Once the boot is clipped in like that, when you're skinning uphill, it's worth popping the toe piece up like that, and that helps lock it in place so that your ski will not come off while you're skinning uphill. While you're skiing downhill, have this more flat so that the release mechanism can still work, unless you're an extreme skier, but we're not doing that today. At the rear of the ski, on the Dynafit bindings, like every other binding, we have brakes, and also the heel piece, which as it swivels, it changes its height in terms of the riser, as it's known. So this is on the flat level. If we turned it round one more clockwise, then our heel will sit on this bit of platform here, raising it up by an inch or two. And if we turn it round one more click clockwise, then the heel will sit on top of this piece here, which elevates the heel another couple of inches. Now this is an important feature of the binding which helps us stay more comfortable as the slope we're skinning up gets steeper and steeper. However, an easy mistake to make is to use these risers far more often than is required, and generally you'll find that you'll have a more efficient skin if you keep the risers low and you try and follow a skinning track which is fairly mellow. So for me, while I'm guiding, my rule of thumb is that if I'm having to use my risers at all, then I'm probably putting the track in too steeply for a comfortable skin, A, for myself, but B, also for my clients for the day. Continuing our theme of trying to stay comfortable while we're going uphill, we should pay attention to our boots and how tight they are. So I like to have my boot clips done up, but on their loosest setting. So I don't want my heel to be rising and falling inside my liner and getting rub points, but at the same time I don't want them my feet to be clamped down into my boot, because that makes for uncomfortable skinning, but also much harder work as we don't get the same freedom of stride and length of stride while we're skinning. Also, we need to make sure that our boots are in walk mode rather than ski mode, and this allows the cuff of the boot to move backwards and forwards much more freely for a better gliding action. Okay, so this week we've looked at some basic skinning techniques and how to make sure we have a comfortable day skinning in the mountains. The most important thing to remember is to keep a nice, even, mellow pace while you're skinning, so that you're not too hot or too cold, and you're not using too much energy at any one point, so we can preserve that for our descent.